Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another episode of ReaperCast. Today I wanted to talk about one new card that's coming out in Battle of Chaos, but then I also wanted to talk about a bit of news regarding the sets that are actually scheduled to come out. But with that being said, I would like to remind you guys to consider dropping a like, share, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed this kind of content. But with that being said, let's begin. So right over here we have Dark Dimension Soldier. Now this is kind of like a new variation of the original DD Warrior or the Different Dimension Warrior. So this is definitely really fun because firstly it's a synchro monster and secondly it is a revamp of an original card. So I'm really curious to see what this actually has to offer. So let's see what this actually is. It is a warrior synchro effect monster with 1200 attack and 2400 defense. It's also a dark monster and it's level 5. So synchro summoning might be a bit odd because you obviously have mostly level 4s, maybe level 3s within the Different Dimension deck. So if you need a level 1 tuner or level 2 tuner, I guess it's not too particularly difficult. I mean, assuming you're playing Effect Veiler, you could definitely pull this off. You can only use this card's first and second effects each once per turn. So first effect, you could banish one card from your hand, then target one of your banished dark monsters, special summon it in face up or face down defense position. It doesn't really matter in terms of face down because your opponent already knows what it is, but I guess if you're playing any decks that have flip effects, you might be benefiting off that. Though seeing this here, it is technically generic enough. It's not necessarily used in a Different Dimension deck, of course, though it does target a banished dark monster. So it is pseudo-specific in its own way. I mean, I could actually play this in DDDs as well, Different Dimension Demons. It's just really funny that there's a bit of synergy in there as well because DDDs, Different Dimension Demons, are actually dark monsters that can banish themselves from the graveyard via their own effects as well. So seeing this here is definitely quite a bonus into this, and I might actually consider this card in a DDD deck as well. However, for the second effect, during each end phase, inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each set card on the field. That's a bit irrelevant to be honest, like it doesn't really do too much, though if you're playing maybe a very slow variation of a deck, maybe that would work out, though it just doesn't seem to work out for the second effect. It seems almost pointless. But with that being said, I'm definitely very impressed with the first effect. It's going to be really fun to actually play this. Can't wait. I'm already getting ideas to play it in Different Dimension Demons, DDDs that is, and of course in any dark deck that banishes as well. You're already thinking, well, perhaps you could play it in even Dark Lords as well. That would be fantastic. And maybe if you're playing an agent deck that actually focused on some dark monsters, that would be fantastic too. But there are so many dark decks out there that can banish. Because keep in mind, there is a Law of Darkness. A Law of Darkness is draw power for dark decks, so seeing this card here, definitely very synergetic and great to see the genericism of its summoning conditions. However, let's now move on to the actual releases of each product that's actually expected to come out in fall. Now, I believe fall is meant to be autumn for everyone in the US is what they call it, and I believe that's around the same time as spring for over here in Australia. So with that being said, it should be around this time that these products should be coming out. So we have firstly the biggest one of all, the 2021 Megatins. These have actually been sold out everywhere, so if you guys haven't actually bought these yet or pre-ordered them at least, then you're definitely missing out. If you can still find it, definitely try to pre-order some. Otherwise, there are definitely singles, but you have to be fast. I was trying to actually purchase Dogmatica Ecclesia and it just sold out in the first day. I mean, in the first few hours, to be honest. It was so quick. So I definitely missed my opportunity for that, and it's going to be really hard now to obtain that card because I've been meaning to get it to actually include it in some of my decks, most notably my Magister's deck. However, the next deck we have here is the Cyberstrike structure decks. Now this is supposed to hit stores on October the 15th. I was actually given the impression that it would have been delayed until January, though maybe that's not the case. If it does come out in October the 15th or 16th, then I'm definitely very excited for this particular release, because I've been wanting to build Cyberdarks and Cyberdragons in general for a very long time now, and the one thing that really held me back was the prices of the decks. They were just so expensive, and seeing that they're finally coming out, it's definitely going to be great here. But yeah, knowing that this is coming out soon, I better save up for this, and this would probably be one of those priority products that I would want to get, even perhaps over the Megatins as well, because the Megatins, maybe I could just buy a few singles to accumulate the cards I need. However, for the Cyberstrike structure deck, it's a different case. It's genuinely a deck that I want to build. And of course, moving on here, we have the Synchro Storm Legendary Duelist set. Now this one obviously was very exciting for me. The Wind Witches, the Fleur de Synchro cards in there, and also the Speedroids were in there. Now I was excited for all three because I was intending to build all three decks. However, if you guys actually recall from one of my previous episodes of Project E, you guys might have actually remembered that I did get rid of my Speedroid deck and decided to pretty much give up on them. So that pretty much means that when Synchro Storm comes out, I will not be focusing anything on the Speedroids, and whatever Speedroids I pull from that set, I'll essentially just get rid of them, sell them off. Whereas for the Wind Witches, or was it actually the Lyrilusks? Well, either or, those are the decks that I want to build, and of course the new Fleur deck as well, or the Fleur support, that is definitely going to be exciting too, because the whole idea of a set focused around Synchro summoning is just phenomenal, given that Synchro summon decks aren't particularly too prevalent these days, so to see it being focused in a particular set like this is something that I'm very pleased about. And this is expected to come out on October the 29th, so that's right around the time of Halloween. Definitely doesn't coincide with Halloween, but I guess it doesn't really matter, it's been delayed quite a bit anyway. Next up, of course, we have the OTS Pack 17. That's definitely very surprising to see that we have already reached OTS 17. It's very late now, of course, but 13 commons, 10 super rares, and 3 ultimate rares. As usual, I'm very excited to find out what the ultimate rares will actually be, but with that being said, there's not much other news to it. It's just expected around October the 13th. And finally, there is a bit of news on organized play being, I guess, more frequent now around the month of October onwards. But the interesting thing about this is that it's mostly going to be remote duels. Now, this is actually something I really wanted to kind of briefly talk about, not to full length of course, but remote duels have kind of become the norm now in terms of tournament play. So for a lot of people out there who have never even tried remote duels, including myself, it does definitely add a new dynamic to the game. Because I'm willing to bet that when remote duels actually began, a lot of people actually just left the game completely. I wouldn't be surprised if the audience actually started to dwindle for the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG itself, because there was no other way to actually go out and play. So you may as well just give up, right? Well, that's the thing. With remote duels, it is looking in that particular way where we might actually all have to adapt to online play. So with that being said, it is definitely a topic that I would like to hear a lot more people's opinions on, because it's a matter of who's actually willing to set up a remote style recording to actually get a duel going. Even in terms of it getting your prizes, you're actually going to have to get things sent to your actual homes. And with COVID affecting shipping delays and everything like that, it's also just going to be very convoluted. However, that was pretty much it for today's video, so I do hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you all have a brilliant day. I'll see you all next time.